I had a very good time this year. I mean, I saw a lot of very good films, and as always, I met new people. So I met people who I wouldn't meet anywhere else but here. So I'm very happy that I came. Well, I was on the jury for the student films and for Central and Eastern European films. And the student films especially the films from Central and Eastern Europe, were getting stronger and stronger. I mean, it was very surprising to find a good Hungarian film where there's no real Hungarian film industry anymore and there's no real film training. So to find a film like Sunday Lunch was a really pleasant surprise. It's changing. I mean, the documentary industry is changing because distribution methods are changing, the markets are changing, but then the interest in making films about the world out there remains as strong as ever. In theory it is. I mean, there are, in France there's a quite successful internet documentary distribution, screening through Amazon and on-demand supplies are growing in Britain. So there's a demand for these sorts of films, yeah. So I don't see documentary film disappearing at all. Yeah, I think it's also that broadcast television stopped distributing those sorts of films, and so people who were interested in that went out and hunted for it in different formats. You know. And so it's also changing nature of cinematic distribution. That it's because of not having 35mm prints anymore, it's possible to put a documentary at no extra cost in 20 cinemas at one time, and that wasn't possible before. You couldn't make 20 prints of a film, because you would never recoup your investment. But there's no extra investment in streaming the film to 20 cinemas or one. So that really changes the possibilities of documentary distribution cinematically. Drop of the beat. The drop of the beat. I'm not sure the news is really propaganda, but yes, I mean it's a sort of it varies from country to country, but yeah, of course people want a deeper engagement with what's going on behind the news, and that's exactly what documentary gives you. Yeah, it's a way of taking you places that you wouldn't go to otherwise. I don't know. I mean, because of course, people document. I mean, in a sense, you could spend your entire life as a historian in the future, never doing anything apart from looking at all the archive. Yeah. I mean, I suppose with automation with a far greater degree of automation of recognition, that it will be possible to sort through the vast visual archives and achieve. So it'll be much easier to say, I want to find photographs of Dumitru Budrala in Romania in 2014, and search engines in 10 years' time will produce everything that's available for that. And they do already quite well, but even better. Or even more specific. So with kind of greater search power, it will be possible to use the kind of vast archive. But at the moment, it seems just like a kind of chaotic sea. Well, this is one of the things that's happened quite a lot. It's illustrated in the film Maidan, which won the Grand Jury Prize, is a kind of greater willingness to do formal experimentation. So in a sense, the Maidan film is not really about Maidan, it's not really about Ukraine. It's about something, it's using the camera to ask other sorts of questions, and the film is asking questions about the nature of documentary. And that's one of the things, I suppose, that's much clearer now than it's always been there, that, and you can see it in various some of Herzog's films or whatever, but I mean, it's perhaps more mainstream now, that sort of questioning. There isn't a formula. It depends on the stuff. It depends upon what you're doing. I mean, there isn't an answer to that. All those things are important. I mean, not all films have stories, but it's always important to get it technically right, because if you can't use the material, it's useless. Yeah. So it really just depends. I mean, That's what's fun about documentary, is there isn't a kind of formula. Yeah, to go out and find stories that you didn't know existed. I mean, to tell stories, not stories, but to go and find subjects and situations that are genuinely surprising. Yeah, that's fun.